Internet of Unintended Consequences. This is my friend
Tom and my friend
Deb. And here, today I want to talk about something that's really sort of just, it's a theme that's been coming up in the last 2 weeks wherever I go. And it's this idea of memory, right, in this digital world. And I mean, things have just been coming up for me. First of all, here's this article from the New York Times Magazine about digital memory and what we're losing. Then there's this book that I find when I'm browsing Amazon called Delete and the Art of Forgetting and how hard it is. And I think I mentioned another book, The End of Absence, that also talks about this whole thing about memory and devices, about using our devices as sort of, this is what the writer of the New York Times article, Walter Kern, says, that we're outsourcing our memory.
Imagine that, and outsourcing it to technologies that some cases no longer exist. You were talking earlier about an 8mm film, if anyone remembers what that is.
Yeah, I'm really going to date myself. Right now, people are going to start subtracting numbers to find out how old I am. But, there was this old 8mm film thing, right? Film reel. And I had found it when I was moving, and it was of my baptism. Many, many, many years ago.
Well, not that bad.
No, trust me. But anyway, I found this company called Nostalgic Media in Atlanta. And what they do is they're able to convert this old media into new media. And at that time, I had wanted him to convert it to DVD. And he did. But, it was pretty interesting. Now I had to convert it to a digital file because I can't find any equipment to run the DVD anymore.
Well, true, because they're making computers so thin now they don't come with DVD drives. But
that's right.
One of the things that really struck me about your story was your parents and how much this meant to them.
Yeah, when they were able to see this, because obviously nobody has 8mm projectors anymore, right? And so here is this, I'm not going to tell you how many years it was in the past, but they were seeing like their fathers who had died. They were seeing, family and friends who they haven't seen in years because of death or they passed on, but also because they didn't have any technology that would enable them to run this. I mean, they were both literally in tears, right? Seeing these people, and it took them back. It took them back to that moment to be able to see those moving images, right? Even more so than just a photo.
Don't you think that's so important for people today who are recording memories on iPhones or iPads or however they're recording them on different devices and how they're storing them? And what happens when technology changes in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years?
Yeah, well, we had heard Vint Cerf, who's the vice president of Google, right? And he talked about that issue right here in the Atlanta Press Club about the digital dark ages, right? Which is when all this wonderful technology of how we create these digital memories,
right?
When that technology isn't here anymore, like the 8mm projector, right? Thank God Nostalgic Media had one, but what if they didn't? Right? Do you remember the floppies?
I do remember the floppies.
And those, the 3.5-inch hard discs. Well,
right.
Do you have any machine that runs them anymore?
No, absolutely not.
No, and that's what Vint was talking about, was these digital dark ages. When we get there, that we have all this wonderful content, all of these memories, right, that we've outsourced. How do we get to them?
I think that's an interesting question, and it's one of the topics that we'll be talking about as we go forward with the Internet of Unintended Consequences.
So stay tuned and share with us, how do you keep your memories today? And do you still have a family photo album? Do you?
Well, no.
No. Your wife doesn't have a photo album with all the grandkids?
We're hoping our daughter keeps it.
Okay. But I think, you were talking about the fact of having that photo album very different from the digital, right? So we have thousands of pictures, right, on our cell phones.
And you were talking about an app that you can get that will actually convert like Facebook, for example, into a hard copy.
So this is really interesting, and it's called My Social Book, right? And what it does is that you basically open up the app and you tell them, okay, for this time period, I want you to sort of gather all of my Facebook posts and print a book for me, you know, a hardcover printed book. And, you know, I think that's so ironic in a way, right? Because they're posting it online, and yet they're not asking for a digital book. They're asking for paper. They're, you know, that book. And I think that works a little bit like what you were talking about, those old photo albums, right? That it doesn't matter the technology of how those photos were taken, because you can open it, you can access it, you can enjoy them. And that's what's happening with my social book, right? If I don't have the computer, I don't have the Facebook, but I have the book, I can enjoy what I did there.
I think that's showing that we're still not completely comfortable with having our memory stored on devices and electronically. But we'll get there.
You think we're going to get, well, we might not have a choice.
I don't think we will have a choice.
Right? We might not have a choice of whether we can do it on the device or not. But again, this is one of those topics we will return to. So join us on our website, www.tiouc.com. Please use our comment box and send us some questions, or like us on Facebook as we, you know, sort of explore this as well as other topics like e-health.
Exactly. And these are topics that we'll be talking about a lot in the months and years going forward.
So you guys have a great time. This is the Internet of Unintended Consequences. My friend
Tom and my friend
Deb. Bye-bye.